Welcome to Friday Night Firelight, presented by Mortal Up. I'm Brian Brawdy, your host, broadcasting with Telestream's Wirecast, and sponsored by Nutrient Survival at nutrientsurvival.com, and of course, Firebugs at Firebugs, that's BUGGZ.com. Good evening once again, and welcome to Friday Night Firelight. As you can tell, people say all the time, Portland is the rainiest city in our country. And I've been to Portland, and it pours there. I get it. But man, I don't know. It's given the Columbus area a run for its money. We're back inside, as you could probably tell, the inside studio this evening. But we have so much going on, so much I wanted to talk to you about that I couldn't run the risk of the weather interfering again. So here we go. I can't wait to get back to the Firebugs fire pit. And we have our wood burning fire pit now. The waters have finally settled down so we can get to that end of the fire pit, which means I should thank our sponsors. I should thank you for joining us if you're here on a Friday night. Thank you very much for Firebugs and their whole lineup of cool things for you and your family to build rapport around a Firebugs fire pit. And we're going to be introducing next week in Friday Night Firelights. We'll be introducing the new commercial for Firebugs, so we're very excited about that, as we will be introducing the new commercial for Nutrient Survival. I can't say enough about them, especially with all the craziness, all the mashugana going around. I had one such crazy, one could almost call it catastrophic. It was a nearly catastrophic crash or chase today. So here, I'm coming back, right? Getting ready to come in and work with Wayne and get the show all put together, everything going and whatnot. And so I'm driving through the country club. Now, I don't know how they do this. I don't even want to say if it was a guy or a girl, because whatever one I say, the other side of the fence will call screaming and going, I'm slamming this one or slamming that one. But this golfer, no, I said gopher. This golfer slices the ball from the tee. I don't think if you bet someone, hey, could you slice the ball and make it go clearly out of bounds? Well, what happened was, apparently, and I watched this person swing, and so you lose track of the ball. You're not driving. You're trying to keep your eyes on the road. Hey, I'm a menace as it is behind the wheel, right? You're trying to keep it down. I see the swing, and then all of a sudden, a nearly catastrophic moment where the golf ball, like 10, 15 yards, bounced down the road in front of me. I think it was a Pinnacle. Could have been a Balada. I don't know. But it bounced down the road in front of me, and I grabbed hold of the wheel, right? The pulse rate's catastrophic. You get where I'm going with this. And then it ricochets, hits a big oak tree on the other side of the road, honest to goodness, bounces back, and I see the ball bounce in my rearview mirror. The golf ball is chasing me. So everything goes out to Prince. Is it Prince? Harry and Mashugana, whatever her name is, for their harrowing. Right now that I've been in a catastrophic a golf ball chase, my heart goes out to those two. And I just gotta know, in New York City, I'm there all the time. Can speeds really get all that? Can you get into a nearly catastrophic car chase at like 10, 11, pushing it maybe 15 miles an hour that time of day? I don't know. But in any event, here's the segue into Nutrient Survival. When you're in that catastrophe, when you're in that apocalyptic mindset, and we're going to get to this very shortly, you're in the apocalypse, you need your mind and your body working perfectly, and you need nutritional sustenance. I say it all the time. If we're kicking back, watching a show, maybe nutrient isn't nearly as important than when you find yourself knee-deep and, oh no, it'll never happen to me. But in that emergency situation, your body's counting on those nutrients to be able to psychologically and physically perform, which is why I'm such a fan of Nutrient Survival. And of course, if my taste buds could vote, I'd never eat anything else, right? That's how great it tastes. So I want to thank Nutrient Survival. I want to thank Firebugs, and also Telestream's Wirecast wouldn't be coming to you live. Wouldn't even be coming to you taped. It wouldn't be coming to you at all if it weren't for Wirecast. So thank you so very much. Oh, and another quick shout out, if I could. Jones Sportswear and Embroidery right here. I love the decal on their door that says, thank you for shopping small, right? Right here at home, close by, made in the USA. Not unlike Nutrient Survival and Firebugs. Designed, right? All the craftiness right here in the USA. Well, Jones did this for me. I don't know if you can see it, right? Here's our Mortal Up. Here's our workout shirts, our new Mortal Up workout shirts. And you might be going, you go, Brian, why didn't you have Mortal Up put over, over on your left breast? And I have made mention before that the reason I don't do that is nothing goes over my heart but my hand. So I want to thank them for those shirts. And I don't know if you can see it, but our new television shirt, I guess I got to do more push-ups or more pull-up. I don't know, maybe build my shoulders. Any personal trainers listening that can give me I can't do any more push-ups today. I can't. But in any event, there's our new TV shirts, Brian Brawdy Associates, Mortal Up. So I think you get the point. All right. So I want to there's so much to get to this evening talking about apocalyptic. But as promised in the tease, let me go ahead and get to exactly what I'm saying. We're going to lift the kilt. We're going to peel back the veil. We're not going to bury the lead. Right? We're going to talk about what that means because the word's been hijacked. You know what apocalyptic means? It means to reveal. It's the revelation. So I want the idea of apocalyptic you. Let's reveal who you really are. And this will come around here in just a second, but you're not a wuss. You're not fragile. You're not triggerable. You're not any of those things unless you want to be. You got to let those in. I've said it before. It's like a UPS driver delivering. You order some stuff from Firebugs and there's a knock on the door. But if you don't answer the door and you don't sign for the package, it doesn't come in. So when people say, oh, well, that's just, that vitriol. Well, if it's heartfelt, you have to invite it into your heart before your heart can feel it. So I say, why not just put up a not welcome, do not disturb, no trespassing sign, and let all these people run around with their vapid drool on their own, leave you out of it, because your critics want to envelop you in that. Which kind of leads me to this evening. Look at all the craziness in the world. Just before we got on air, everyone's talking about Fetterman, I think. My mind isn't what it used to be. Everyone on air talking about Fetterman. Oh, can you believe he showed up? It's people of Pennsylvania. God love you. You get what you vote for, kiddos, right? You get it. Fetterman shows up at a press conference, Capitol Hill. He's got a hooded sweatshirt and a pair of shorts and some flip-flops, apparently. Everyone's all upset about it. Look, I think it's breaking news if he shows up in a Big Bird outfit. Cool, call me. I'll come in and we'll watch together. If he shows up dressed as a Muppet, dressed as a Sesame Street cartoon character, then call me. But on a day, talk about burying the lead. On a day, when it's announced that the FBI was playing shenanigans with this wireless search for thousands of people like you, tens of thousands of people. Was it like 298,000, I think was the number that I saw? They're absolutely not doing the wireless searches correctly. They're going after all kinds of people, and they don't even have to go to a judge to get a warrant. I can tell you from my years in law enforcement, you got to wake up a judge. Sometimes they're cranky, sometimes they're not, right? But you got to get a judge to give you a warrant to be able to do the things that you want to do in law enforcement. Well, the FBI just goes, we're the FBI. We're the Federal Bureau of Incompetence. The Federal Bureau of Intelligence. We don't need no stinking warrants. Let's just go and get it. It's all for the good, right? We don't need a constitution. We don't need rights against search and seizure. We don't need this. Let's just go. And on the day that story breaks, I'm supposed to give a crap what Fetterman wears to the dog and pony show that is a press conference on Capitol Hill? I don't get it. I just don't get it. Look at everything in the Durham report. Even Bill Barr now, who's basically said, look, there's no way he'd ever vote for Trump. Bill Barr comes out today and says, oh, I don't know. Sure looks like they were gunning for the boy, right? You can't blame this as incompetence. This was straight out evil. They were going after him. So on the days where that's what you and I should be focusing on, the run at the border, Biden tripping down the stairs in Japan, all the other most pressing news that we should be focusing on And we're worried the top news story at a place I don't go anymore, Fox News, top news story is the way Fetterman decides to dress. Have you heard him lately at a press conference? The poor guy can barely talk. And for all the people that go, oh, you shouldn't be making fun of people with brain damage. I have brain damage. So the hell with you, right? Let's just get that out in the open right now. I know what I'm talking about. I'm insane. That said, I am very excited in my insanity to take a moment to talk to you, because we get a lot of questions about it, about dun, da, da, dun, da, 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 the Brian Brawdy intervention coming very, very soon. Now, here's the reason that I believe, let me get my iPad here, because I want to make sure I get this right. A lot of plagiarism going on, a lot of stealing. A lot of these writers, oh, no, we would never steal. Okay, let's just call it plagiarism. But there's an author, I just finished his book out there. I just finished his book, or just a series, actually. He's written a series of books, but let me get here. Oh, here's the one, the one saying, and it says that hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. They create wuss. That's me, not him. Me. He said, right, good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times. Now, this author, because everyone and their brother's running around stealing, his writing. What is his name? G. Michael Hoff. Looks like G. Michael Hoff. So when we talk about the hard times brought about by weak men, because it's a pathogen. Wuss is a pathogen. And I think, just like he said in his sentences, it's cyclical. And I think wuss as a pathogen is cyclical. And that's why in the Brian Brawdy intervention, here's what we're doing. We're calling a war on wuss. All the craziness, all the meshuggah in the world, everything going on the way it is, it's time to bring a war on wuss. Now, we can inoculate ourselves by having our own internal war on wuss, right? We're not going to listen to the meshuggah, the drive-by vitriol of all of our critics, of all of our enemies, of all those people that are against us, wherever we fall on the spectrum, right? We can do that, but we can also go and create a war on what's like a war on drugs, a war on poverty, a war on homelessness, a war on this, on that. We can create a war on what's going, look, weak men are creating hard times for us, and it's the wuss that's creating those hard times. Now, you might go, well, Brian, you're old, right? You're the ripe old age of 60-somewhat, right? You're old. What do you really care? And that's a valid point. If I didn't have, and I owe a little bit of this to Eric Christensen from Nutrient Survival. He's talking about he just refuses to have his kids subject to this, much the same as I'm refusing with 5 kids. I'm going to do what I can right now to wage a war on wuss, both internally to be a good example for them as to how they can live their life, and externally going after the craziness, going after the meshuggah that is the media. Which, now, if you've followed me before, you know all about this. Now, this is an old graphic. Just spoke to Wayne a little bit ago. He's creating a new one, but we're calling it Jousting with Journalists. Now, this was back in the day where I kept begging CNN, going, Brian Stelter, get rid of him. He's a drain. He's not helpful at all. Let's just say, I even spell Brian with an I. It's not like he spells it with a Y, I spell it with an I. It would be, you wouldn't even have to change the graphic, just the last name. Move me in right there, and I'll take over for Brian Stelter. But they didn't listen, ended up having to fire the guy. So we're going to return to jousting with journalists. And our question is, do you think they got the lance for it? Oh, Brian, you shouldn't have made that kind of joke. That's exactly the kind of joke we think. You think the guy's got the cojones, I guess is the word. You think they have the guts. You think they have the lance for battling with me? And that's what we're going to do. We're going to call it jousting with journalists. Now, I have to be honest, a part of it, I'm just drawn like a moth to the flame at 8 p.m. Eastern. I don't know about you, but with Tucker Carlson gone, and now all the different people that they're funneling in, I know Kilmeade, good guy. I've met those people, good people. I don't like, right? Who cares who I don't like? But some of the other people seem like good people, don't care. I want the 8 o'clock time slot. So what made it so easy for me. Would you see any of these stories? Talking about the things we really ought to be we ought to be paying attention to. MSNBC. Did you see this, Chris Wallace? No, not Chris Wallace. Is he still around? Is he still a thing? Not Chris Wallace. What's his name? Chris Matthews? No, not Chris Matthews. He's another has-been. What is his name? Chris somebody. That All In with Chris Hayes. All Insane with Chris Hayes at 8 p.m. now leads the time slot. And he was melting down because he said that Governor DeSantis in Florida shouldn't be able to say to parents, you can't give kids a sex change drugs or surgeries or mutilations or operations or whatever you're talking about. You can't do it until they're right of an age of reason, whatever that is. And now everyone says, oh, Brad, you got to follow the science. Follow the, what a grandmother white coats, right? Follow the science. Well, science. Yeah, tell me that, would you? Science says that the human mind, not me, not my mind, who knows? Mine clearly might not even be formed at the age of 60, whatever, right? But that the human mind isn't fully even wired up, connected, put together. All the cylinders aren't firing. None of that is going on until you're like 23, 24, somewhere in that area. So it's considered a good idea, Chris? Really? And you say, why did you call it MSNBC? Because you're insane, brother. Even more so than I am. To say that it's not the parents' right to stand up for their kids. Now, here's a little segue. I don't know. I've known this. I don't know if we've mentioned it before, but did you know that being a prepper, right? I get a ton of blowback about that. Being a prepper is the same, kind of about the same thing as being a parent. I don't know if you knew this, but the etymology of the word, the root, the Latin of the word is the same thing, to prepare. Whether you're preparing for a disaster or you're parenting your children, you're preparing them for life, then follow the science. If science says the human mind doesn't follow the science, Brian, what is wrong with you? The science. If science says the human mind isn't formed till you're 24 years old, why would you think for a second that a young mind goes, I think I'm a girl, I think I'm a boy, I think I'm a dog, I think I'm a salamander, I think whatever it is that the human mind thinks of. At that age, it's not even fully developed. So talk about the age of reason. And this Chris Hayes, all in with Chris Hayes, all insane with Chris Hayes. Now, here's the brass tacks of it, although I think he's nuts. The Brian Brawdy intervention will be coming back at the 8 p.m. time slot. Now, here's the challenge that I've thrown down for the team. And for me, right, just as I am. Hayes got 1.78 million viewers the other night to win the 8 o'clock time slot. After Tucker bailed, right? Anybody apparently can win. Newsmax, I think, is right. Eric Bowling, the old guy from Fox News, is getting 500,000 there. But in any event, All Insane with Chris Hayes got 1.78 million. Now on Rumble, if you go to rumble.com, Brian Brawdy, over on Rumble, we have 10 viewers. And I'm pretty sure Wayne's such a good guy. I'm pretty sure he's one of them. And my sister's a pretty good a woman as well. I'm pretty sure. So we have like 8 subscribers. But I'm willing to take those 8 subscribers, and we're going to be doing the Brian Brawdy intervention. And we're going to start building it to where we very quickly will be able to unthrone, talk about a war on wuss, talk about MSNBC at 8 o'clock. You're going to be able to come here. We're going to broadcast live to Rumble. Right? Wayne's working with them to figure it all out. We're going to broadcast live. We're going to take our 8 people, probably, maybe 7, right? But I don't think there's 10. Right? There's a little bit of family pad the numbers. Padding. What kind of padding is it to get to 10? But we're going to take our 10 subscribers, and we're going to go up against All Insane with Chris Hayes, 1.78 million, to 8. So it's a little bit of David and Goliath, but that's what we're going to do. Because sooner or later, somebody has got to beat these people back. And I have to be honest, I mentioned to you earlier brain damage. I mentioned to you the tumor. I mentioned to you everything that I've struggled through. Even with all of that, I'm better at it than they are. And we're going to prove it, right? I may not have a makeup artist, may not have an entire group of writers and producers. I might be doing it off the riff, so it may take me a couple of days. But we're going to take our Rumble account and do what we can to, and then look, it might not, there's all kinds of love to go around, not just all insane with Chris Hayes, but over at CNN. Oh, look, whatever, Cooper, what is his name? Anderson Cooper, he's dropping like a drone shot down over the skies of Russia. He's dropping in the numbers, right? Newsmax, as I said, bowling. We're going to go whoever's in that 8 o'clock time slot. You watch Irish Luck, My Luck. Tucker will come back at that same 8 o'clock time slot. And then I'll have to switch just to rough up Chris Hayes, all insane with Chris Hayes. But we're going to do just that to give you an option and to show them we're coming with you and your war on wuss. We're coming with you and we're coming at you with all your craziness. We can't afford people to be buying into this. Think about it. Think about it. Now, lest you say, well, Brian, what do you know about media? I was not a bigwig, but I was a television reporter, right? I was an investigative reporter. They would send me around to do different things. But here's the thing. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me, right? You pick the reporter, I'll go up against him or her. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Pick them, I'll go up against them. Oh, well, you don't have a degree in journalism. Right? There is a God, right? Doesn't matter. I'll go up against any of them, especially if they're as crazy as some of these people on the Circus News Network and MSNBC. And to a certain degree, Fox, because some of them are just nuts too. All right, so, but I don't want you to think you're like, Bri, you just can't be beating up on media. I know, right? You got to spread the love, brother. I got you. So we're bringing back another segment you may remember. Welcome to Lowlife's Making Headlines with the Brian Brawdy Intervention, bouncing the bozos, and there is a boatload of them, bouncing the bozos from their lofty perch. And hopefully by then, Fetterman will show up as like, I don't know, McGruff the crime dog, or I don't know, he'll show up like Lex Luthor. Who knows what he'll be dressed like in his next conference. So, but there'll be plenty of fodder for the Lowlife's Making Headlines segment, and that's going to be a part of the Brian Brawdy Intervention. And I really apologize. We probably spent all of Friday Night Firelight talking about that. So let's return quickly before we throw up the flames to see what they have to say to you. And simply remind you that apocalyptic is the revelation. It reveals, it pulls the veil back, it lifts the kilt. What are the very best parts of you that have just been badgered, that have just been strong-armed, maybe just watered down to such a degree that you don't even want to mix it up anymore? Well, we need you if we're going to successfully fight this war on wuss, both the war on wuss in the mirror and in the mainstream. Right? We need you to remember who you ultimately are, that you're unbeatable when you simply decide to be. So here's the thought I'd like to leave you with. It is fast coming time with all the craziness going on in the world. All the belief that the politicians are watching out. The politicians aren't watching out for anybody but themselves. You and I both know that. Big business isn't watching out for anyone but for themselves. You and I should definitely know that. Big pharma, big food, they're not watching out for anybody. Is there any, speaking of big food, is there any farmland left, or has China purchased it all while I was out today? Being assaulted almost catastrophically by flying golf balls. I don't know how poor Harry gets through the day. Not to mention the fact, this whole thing, and then I'll get back to it, I promise. This whole thing about, it was near a catastrophic car chase. Didn't his mom die that way? What a crap weasel. To imply that the paparazzi, the same thing, I believe, I could be wrong about Princess Di, but I believe it was the car paparazzi chasing her. But, right, who would say that if it weren't true? It'd be like my mom dying of brain cancer or lung cancer, and I go, at first we thought it was lung cancer. It just turned out it was tree allergies. I need to take some Zyrtec. Well, who would do that? Yeah, look, I couldn't care less about who you want to make king or queen or prince of suffixes or whatever they're called, right? I'd just be glad when they go back to wherever they belong, right? But it was a catastrophic almost golf ball crash, I have to tell you. All right, so here's the deal. When it comes to a war on WUSH, you go, well, Brian, what can I do before the intervention? What am I going to do to get it started? How can I throw in? Do this. Draw your line in the sand. Square your shoulders. Lead with your chin. Be a hand worth holding. I hear people talk all the time, well, I just can't get any women to pay attention to me. Did you ever stop and think that maybe you're a guy? Maybe your hand is one that's not worth holding? Maybe there's nothing wrong with women. Maybe they just don't like you because you're a putz. Draw your line in the sand. Square your shoulders. Lead with your chin. Be a hand worth holding. Be a mind worthy of life itself and mortal up. And if you do that, you're on the path to helping us in our war on WUSH, helping us get our country back. And I don't know, I apologize. Did I mention this earlier? The 4th of July, I'll be walking for 24 hours to celebrate the 4th of July. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I will. We'll talk about it later, but I'll be going out and surviving all on food from Nutrient Survival. Anything warm that I make, I'll be making with my Firebugs on the Fly portable fire pit. So I'm very excited about all that. We'll talk about that a little later. But in the interim, draw your line in the sand. Square your shoulders. Lead with your chin. It won't kill you. Don't worry about a bloody nose. You got 12 pints. Be a hand worth holding. Be a mind worthy of life itself and mortal up. All right, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Let me thank again everybody, Nutrient Survival, obviously Firebugs, Telestreams Wirecast, and for our new uniforms, I'll do some push-ups before we're on here next. Or maybe some shoulder shrugs. Probably could just sit up straight. That would work. But I'll do some more exercises before the next time we eat. And before we get out of here, a quick programming, easy for me to say, quick programming note. What will the Flames say to you? Have an absolutely fantastically great weekend, and we'll see you next week.